Now, here's an article from the Jerusalem Post. Mamdani accuses Israel of genocide with U.S. funding during White House meeting with Trump. Logan, do we have a clip of him saying that? When did this? Miami told reporters of the New Yorkers that New Yorkers are tired of seeing tax dollars fund wars and the U.S. needs to follow through on the international human rights, claiming that they are still being violated and something needs to be done no matter where what we're speaking of or where we're speaking of. So he actually accused Israel of genocide. Logan's got the clip. Look, I've been pretty clear. I think we have to be careful as a country to be spending our money all over the world fighting wars. I want to help Israel, defend Israel, sell you guys weapons, share technology. But of course, we have to be very careful about how much we're funding everything around the world while our own national security is collapsing over here. But we don't break away from our biggest ally. We should sell you guys weapons. We should sell them at cost. We should give intelligence to you as you give intelligence to us. We can help each other in a lot of ways. So again, the folks in the America First movement need to understand we can disagree on funding Israel, but where we should agree is we don't allow for anti-Semitism and what we just saw, and we shouldn't be making false claims of genocide. I've not seen any proof of Israel being involved in any genocide. Do sometimes innocent people get killed in war? Yes, that's historically what happens. But I have documented over and over, as has Aaron, the great length to which Israel goes to warn citizens, get out of the area. We're going to come in there and bomb, or we're coming in, get out. Or taking babies, taking Islamic or Muslim babies out of hospitals and incubators to save their lives. Many other things they've done and do. Don't forget, Israel in 2005 gave up the whole Gaza. Buildings, vineyards, everything. Schools, hospitals, gave it to them. And the Jews moved out. And instead of having their Palestinian state and being happy with themselves, they had to spend untold numbers of dollars in acquiring weapons, building tunnels, and preparing to slaughter Jews. Let's roll the clip. Logan found it.
And you did a piece in all the 9 months around the world. I would like to ask Mr. Mamdani, you've accused the U.S. government of committing genocide in Gaza while President Trump was working on peace. Why that?
I've spoken about the Israeli government committing genocide, and I've spoken about our government funding it. And I shared with the president in our meeting about the concern that many New Yorkers have of wanting their tax dollars to go towards the benefit of New Yorkers and their ability to afford basic dignity. And what we see right now is we're in the 9th consecutive year of more than 100,000 school children being homeless in our city. And there's a desperate need not only for the following of human rights, but also the following through on the promises we've made New Yorkers. And I appreciated the meeting we had and the work that we can do.
Do you agree that President Trump did do a peace and work hard to make the peace? Because he worked hard to do the peace in the Middle East and everywhere. Do you agree with that?
I appreciate all efforts towards peace, and I shared with President Trump that when I spoke to Trump voters on Hillside Avenue, including one of whom was a pharmacist that spoke about how President Trump's father actually went to that pharmacy not too far from Jamaica Estates, that people were tired of seeing our tax dollars fund endless wars. And I also believe that we have to follow through on the international human rights, and I know that still today those are being violated, and that continues to be work that has to be done no matter where we're speaking of.
Mr. President.
So did President Trump respond to that at all? Well, Aaron, you respond to that, please.
Oh, brother, I'm telling you, talking about blood, my blood is boiling right now. I hope that President Trump responded to that because, by accusing us of a genocide, that's part of a blood libel, Brandon. In the scriptures, in Leviticus 17, it says it's forbidden to drink blood. And in the same context, it says the blood is to be used to make an atonement for your souls. Now, by using blood libels in a metaphorical way, that's what people are doing. They are drinking our Jewish blood. They are accusing us of murdering people. So what are they doing? They're drinking our blood. They're trying to drain our blood. They're trying to get the world to turn against us. And I'm telling you, statements like that are going to cause massive problem. I was at a prayer meeting tonight, just a couple of hours ago, and we were praying for President Trump, who wants to make America great again. No question in my mind, he loves America and he wants to make America great again. But God forbid that he should do it by sacrificing anyone, including Israel. And things like this, he can't let go. He cannot let statements like this just go by the wayside. We were praying that he would wake up, and that the answer is not making America great by putting more money in people's pockets. That the answer is a turning back to God, a repenting, because like I quoted before, first will be the Saturday people, next will be the Sunday people. They're coming after us. They're coming after the Christians. They're coming after the infidels. And again, I'm assuming that people who made this blood libel were radical Muslims, but we know that this new mayor of New York, I'm infuriated by him saying that. And Donald Trump should have, he should have publicly corrected him for that.
Logan, do we see anything where President Trump pushed back? He's looking for more clips to see if he pushed back. He even went out of his way to help Mamdani out when the media kept trying to put pressure between the two. The media was trying to get them to go at each other.
Right.
They wanted to get that on film. And Trump even defended him a couple times. Here's one of them. Watch.
It sounds like you had a productive discussion, but just days ago, you referred to President Trump as a despot who betrayed the country. You said you would be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views. And what I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting. Maybe I think he'll change his mind after we get to working together. Yes, please.
Wow. President Trump went from saying, I don't know, maybe we can do something to stop this guy from even being installed, and to we're going to work together. I don't know.
So Brennan, one thing we were saying at the prayer meeting is how, the quote, keep your friends close to you, keep your enemies even closer. And it seems that Donald Trump, with the president of Syria, with the president, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, now the mayor of New York, he's keeping his enemies very, very close. Donald Trump is not stupid. He knows about the president of Syria. He knows about Qatar. He knows the evil. One minute he'll speak out against the evil, but then the next minute he's very close to these people. And there's a compromise going on there. And I'm convinced that the compromise is he wants somehow to do deals. He wants, and there's a time to be close to your friends. The question is how much are things and people and values going to be compromised? Who's going to be thrown under the bus by keeping your really close friends by keeping your enemies really, really close to you? Somehow there's going to be a compromise. And I wonder why Donald Trump is trying to be so friendly. Maybe his image, maybe Donald Trump is changing from how he was before. Maybe he's calming down more. Maybe he's becoming more of a man pleaser. I don't know, but we're certainly praying.
He stepped in again to defend him when the media is trying to play got ya. Here we go.
Here, our train screener.
I will use every form of transit, and I want to make sure that they're all affordable in New York City, and that's why making buses fast and free is a centerpiece of our campaign.
Did you?
Where's the bus that
Well,
goes?
but I know, but if you flew,
She
that's,
was saying that you should have taken the bus. Why did you fly over here? That's not very green. And President Trump jumps in to defend him. Here we go.
The bus that
well,
goes.
but I know, but if you flew, that's a lot quicker too. No, I mean, he's working very hard. For him to be, that's a very long drive. I'll stick up for you. You know, the plane takes you 30 minutes and driving takes you a
And
long
Mr.
time.
President,
I'll stick up here for you. I didn't expect to see this. Did you, Logan? The way he was talking about, okay, I'll go to it. Logan's found another video. The way that Trump was talking about Mamdani, I was really happy with Trump before and after the election calling him out. All right, we've had Sal Greco on. Oh, that's the video I played. Well, let's hear what he says. Sal Greco has said, I lost my job in the NYPD because I supported Trump, who then supported the guy who terminated me for that, Eric Adams. You don't care. You didn't care, laughed at my expense, but jokes on all of you like I stated for months. Welcome to politics, AKA the WWE, where you are all gullible spectators. This guy was an NYPD cop. He criticized the mayor, lost his job, and he's not happy apparently by seeing this. Here's another one. That's okay. You say yes, it's easier than really? What's this one? Let me play this one.
are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump
It's easier than explain. Just say yes. It's easier than explaining. Why is he giving this guy so much cover?
You know, his body language and everything, Brandon, is so different to the Donald Trump that I've witnessed for many years. He, maybe he, we all know he's a deal maker, but is he really a politician? And he's trying to play the politician, and it seems very uncharacteristic of him.
It does seem like there's the public persona, and then there's the real Donald Trump. Okay. I think we saw the real Donald Trump when we spent 11.5 hours at Mar-a-Lago, and we're in the room with him, not for the whole 11.5 hours, but we're in the room with him for a while. And he was a very down-to-earth, friendly, personable, as I said before, picked up on people's names, used my, hey, Logan, you use my phone, take a picture. I want a picture of this. Picked up on Logan's name, used it, was very kind to my wife and daughter, to me, to everybody on our team as we produced that interview at Mar-a-Lago. He didn't talk about himself. He didn't brag. He was very gracious. And I think we saw the personal side. I sometimes wonder if there's the public side, there's the rough and tough and threats and whatnot, and the true social post. And then there's when the real guy gets in the room, and you're now seeing the real Donald Trump. The real Donald Trump probably isn't a really, really mean guy to people's face, to their face. Now, when he walked out of the room, he may have said to his advisors, I don't like the guy, blah, blah, blah. But He's not a guy that's probably going to be mean to your face unless you're Rosie O'Donnell. And even then, I would not be shocked if he and Rosie O'Donnell were together. He would be like that. Like he would be like that. You see what I'm saying? There's what's that? And yeah, unless you're Zelensky, then he came a little, but then he patched it up with Zelensky, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, there's your public persona, then there's who you really are. And sometimes if you're on camera a lot, the two start bleeding and becoming confusing from the image you've tried to project to who you really are, right?
Yeah. And maybe because the mayor of New York, who's just been elected, has got such a good following that, Trump, he didn't want to come across as the party pooper, the one with the fire extinguisher, putting out the fire. So he's, wants to be like one of the guys, joking around with this young guy and coming across as a persona of a good, laid back, friendly guy.
Well, here's another one. This is right from the White House. It's 30 minutes. We're not going to play it all, but let's look a little of this. Here we go.
City of ours that we love to do very well. And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran an incredible race against, a lot of smart people, starting with the early primaries against some very tough people, very smart people. And he beat them easily. And I congratulated him. And we talked about some things in very strong common, like housing and getting housing built, and food and prices, and the price of oil is coming way down. Anything I do is going to be good for New York. If I can get prices down, it's good for New York. And we've got them down, way down from last year. We have, as you know, I've been saying to a lot of people, Walmart said that Thanksgiving this year is exactly 25% less than last year. So that's good for New York, good for everybody. But I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have, hopefully, a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am, I will say. There's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York. And congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Please.
I appreciate it.
Wow. Did you ever think that was going to happen like that with the way he was talking about him before the election? What, Logan? Sid Rosenberg? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, please. Here we go. He's a Jewish radio host out of New York.
So I'm right back in the chair I was sitting in my family room on October 8th. That Sunday morning, the day after October 7th. Same exact chair, same exact shirt. How weird is that? Didn't even realize that till just now. October 8th, 2023. Same chair. This is where I watched that press conference, if you will, between President Trump and Mayor-elect Mamdani. And I think a lot of you know how much I love President Trump. I think a lot of you know President Trump reciprocates that. In fact, I'll be in Washington, D.C. coming up in a couple of weeks when I am sworn in for President Trump's Holocaust Memorial Council. But with that said, for me, Sid Rosenberg, I'm going to say it at the risk of pissing off President Trump, that was a tough press conference to watch, okay? He is a jihadist. Elise Stefanik is right. Sorry, Mr. President. His explanations about genocide and anti-Semitism, President Trump should have been a lot tougher. I understand Trump wants New York to be great. So do I, President Trump. He doesn't even live here. He's got business interests here, but he's in Florida. He's in D.C. I live here. I have kids here. I need this city to be great. I understand all that. But to give this guy a pass, shaking hands and smiling, and what a terrific guy, and we're getting along great, I get it. Look, he goes to the Middle East, he gets along with the Arabs. He goes to Asia, he gets along with some of the guys there. I get it. That's how Trump operates. It's genius, really. That's how he's able to solve all these world conflicts. But this today between Trump and Mamdani, probably the toughest watch for me of any political press conference I've seen, maybe ever. Sorry, Mr. President, he's not conning me. Not yet.
Well, I don't know how Elise Stefanik is going to win the governorship in New York because, I mean, the whole idea was to kind of say, I got to run for governor to overcome the new mayor of New York. But what does she need to run for now? I mean, this guy's had some horrific things to say about the Jews, just horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, he supposedly instructed, this is a DSA guy, Democrat Socialists of America. He supposedly instructed, his policies, any money tied to Israel, any money in banks tied to Israel that helps any Israel. I mean, anything he can do to go after Israel, BDS, boycott, divestment, sanction, he's prepared to do. I don't know. Well, I understand the need to be presidential. It's the biggest city in America, but I would have not been that welcoming, and I probably would have maybe done that press conf. I would have not done. I don't know. Maybe I would have just done that as a closed door meeting and released a statement.
I just hope that the word compromise with Donald Trump is not creeping in. The kings of Israel and Judah were told not to increase in women, gold, and horses. Those were the three key things. And the main reason is because every one of those things talked about compromising. When the kings of Israel and Judah made alliances with foreign kings, quite often the foreign kings would give a daughter. So that's why Solomon had so many wives. And to build up with horses and gold was another way of marrying into and making alliances with foreign people. But what it did, it weakened Israel, it weakened Judah. And this is my concern, that Trump, for the sake of making America great again, which is fantastic, but the way, for me, that he's going about it, it's the dollar. He wants to do it economically. And so the ties, and listen, he doesn't want to come across as the bad guy. And I understand that. But he could have at least rebuked and corrected Mamdani in a respectful, calm, and even said, look, I don't agree with what you've said. At least something, called him out. But something like that, I think Sid Rosenberg, the way he called out the president, he did it in a very respectful way himself. He said, I'm sorry, Mr. President. But, and I was shocked to hear that, Brandon. And Sid Rosenberg, did you hear what he called Mamdani? A pro-jihadist.
Yep.
That's the key.
What do we got, Logan? A clip from Fox News. Even they picked up on it. Here we go.
That's what we just watched. Now I'm in New York City. We were watching that press conference. I think J.D. Vance is jealous. I think the president wants to use him as a running mate. They really got along fantastic. Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade, lucky enough to fill in for Will Kane.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at Mamdani standing there next to the Oval Office and thinking, depending on how this guy plays his cards in New York, he's setting himself up to run for the White House.
Yeah. That's shocking to hear, but he and Donald Trump was empowering him.
In fact, he was asked, do you view the mayor-elect as the true leader of the Democrat Party? Listen to this.
Do you view the mayor-elect as the true leader of the Democrat Party? And do you think Leader Schumer's and Leader Jeffries, have to follow his lead?
Well, look, I hope they have great leaders. This is a man that right now I think is focused in New York City. I really think he has a chance to do a great job. We're going to help him, but I really think he has a chance to do a great job. But I'll let you answer that. You consider yourself the leader of the Democrats? I think it's more appropriate for him.
I consider myself the next mayor of New York City, and I keep my horizons firmly on New York City, and I appreciate the meeting with the president, which focused again on the 5 boroughs and whether New Yorkers could afford to live there.
By the way, being the mayor of New York City is a big deal.
Absolutely.
I always said, one of the things I would have loved to be someday is the mayor of New York City. Being the mayor of New York, and especially now, because I think you're at really a turning point, one way or the other. It could go great, or it can go in a different direction. And I think you really have a chance to make it great.
Wow.
Whew. Brandon, the word charmed? The word charmed is actually, it's a mystical word. It's like a snake charmer. It's used in magic. And when Paul wrote to the Galatians, he used a similar word. He said, who has bewitched you? And I'm telling you, looking at that, it almost looked like Mamdani was bewitching Trump. And you don't often see Trump charmed into such a corner. And that's what I picked up, that he's charmed him.
Well,
schmoozed him, we'd say.
One person said stuff like this only signals Mamdani is not a threat at all, or a threat after all. Laura Loomer says, Laura Loomer says it's dangerous to pretend like Mamdani isn't a threat. She's not happy tonight.
Oh,
she's going off on this whole thing right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Sid Roth is going off, and Laura Loomer is going off. Let's see one of her tweets Logan found. America's future doesn't look so bright. I'm not optimistic about what our country will look like in 2030. I'm going to be very honest. We have a lot of problems, and we only have less than a year to address them before the Democrats take the House. I'm not an optimist. I'm a realist. Well, she's right. And maybe Donald Trump sees the handwriting on the wall with the elections and where they're going, and the mayor of New York, and he's got a building and other assets there. And maybe he wants to protect his assets in his building.
It's interesting you use that phrase, Brennan, handwriting on the wall, because that's what we were praying at our prayer meeting about Nebuchadnezzar. When there was handwriting on the wall.
Literally.
Literally handwriting on the wall. And the Lord made Nebuchadnezzar eat grass until he acknowledged the Almighty from on high. He was the true God. And what is it going to take Donald Trump to really get to that place where he acknowledges that the Lord is God? The handwriting's on the wall. This guy is being groomed to be the next president of the United States.
Very likely. But he has a building, the Trump Tower. He has ordinances and licenses and permits and all kinds of things he has to pull in New York, right? The health inspector, all of this could be turned and weaponized against his businesses, I would think, in New York City, right? And maybe one way is to have a good relationship with the new mayor. So you can call him up and say, hey, your health inspectors are being political and not making things good for my restaurants, a kitchen in Trump Tower or this or that. I don't know. But if you own a lot of assets worth what he does in New York City, I guess he doesn't want to go to war with the new mayor. I mean, I'm just talking pragmatically. If you're looking at it, another perspective of his, right?
Yeah, Trump's smart. He's not stupid, but and that's what's confusing. Like I said before, 1 minute he calls out. He was talking out against Mamdani becoming mayor, and now look at them. He's like he's his grandfather or father. The way he's talking to him. So there's I hope there's a strategy going on, and I hope he hasn't been bewitched. It's a tough one to call.
Yep. Very interesting night. All right, let's get ready to set up one of your great tours. You went to two places we're going to play right now as we get ready to conclude our broadcast for tonight. Where did you go?
Well, one place was up right on the border of Lebanon and Syria, called Banias, but it's known in the New Testament as Caesarea Philippi, not to be confused with Caesarea Maritima, but Caesarea Philippi. It used to be a Greek city with an ancient temple to the Greek god Pan. But then when King Herod's son, Herod Philip, took control, he called it Caesarea after the Caesar and Philippi after himself, Herod Philip. And of course, we read in Matthew 16, a very important historical event when the Lord gives the keys of the kingdom to Peter. And of course, Catholics interpret that as Peter becoming, as it were, the first pope. So that's the first site I went to, and we'll see a little clip about that.
All right, we're going to go to show those right now. But before I do, look at this headline from the New York Post. Trump says he would feel comfortable living in socialist Zohran Mamdani's New York City. That's the headline from the New York Post tonight. Wow. Well, there you go. All right, Aaron, we're looking forward to playing those two things right now. Thank you for being up so late for us tonight out of Israel.
Thank you for having me.
By the way, any other news that you need to report to about Israel? Your Benjamin Netanyahu was out walking around in Syria the other day.
Yeah, this is again just what I've been talking about. Donald Trump putting his arm around Mamdani. With Donald Trump putting his arm around the president of Syria, Brandon, that president is slaughtering the Druze. The Druze. At our prayer meeting, one couple, they witnessed seeing babies and fathers in cold blood dead. They witnessed it. There's a slaughter going on with the Druze. Now the Druze are descendants of Jethro. Jethro, the father-in-law of Moses, Jethro's the number one big prophet for the Druze people. And Jethro was good for the Israelites. He was a friend to Moses. Moses married into the family. So we have a long history with the Druze people, and we have defended the Druze. But the Druze, talking about a genocide, that's what they're going through. And it's at the hands of Julani, the president of Syria. So this is a major issue. There are big danger signs that we are seeing from Iran and from Lebanon. The latest report I heard, Brennan, is that Hezbollah now have 200,000 loaded weapons facing towards Israel. The other big thing is that there's big talk, and I'm talking about not public, but like before October the 7th, big talk under the scenes, behind the news of another October the 7th about to happen. And so we're on guard. We were praying for our military.
In Judea and Samaria?
That's where I'm going with this. Judea, Samaria, another intifada rising up. I hope this is all going to blow over, but we cannot afford to take these reports not serious like we did with the reports before October the 7th. So yeah, we're on alert. Our defense, our military are on alert. They are the major concerns, big concerns. So that's what I'm saying. Even though there's a sense that the war is over, it's far from over.
Aaron Levarco, lighttothenationsministry.com, lighttothenationsministry.com. Aaron, thank you for all you do for us.
Pleasure, Brandon. Thanks.
And folks, if you appreciate the fact that we have a reporter on the ground in Israel who not only brings you reports like this, but then goes out into the field and brings you the reports you're about to see, we send him regular love offerings. We need your support, particularly now as we set our 2026 budgets for pushing out more free ministry broadcast and educational programming. Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. Again, we send him regular love offerings. And again, we need your funding to be able to do that. So if you appreciate the fact that you are part of our team and that you have a reporter on the ground, we need to keep him there. But a workman's worthy of his hire. So please help us as we continue to send him love offerings through our foundation for the ministry broadcast and educational programming. Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com.